Yes.
It's only going to get more difficult.
Oh my goodness. It's
Just
a
wait till
beautiful
it
thing.
just wait till it takes over everything, which I suspect might be quite soon.
Sooner rather than later. Yes.
Exactly. I think we're being live streamed already, and they don't even know
And
what we're talking about.
all the time. 24/7. What do you mean?
There you go.
So, well, speaking of live streaming, we are now live. So, to anyone who's joining us a couple of minutes early, hello, welcome. It's great to have you here. I do have Jim here with me as well, ready to begin his presentation on time at 2:15 p.m. That's Eastern time. Coming up again in just a couple of short minutes. Thank you all so much for your patience. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the session. It is my pleasure to introduce Jim Woods, editor and investment director of Investing Edge, crypto commodities trader, bullseye stock trader, tactical trader, and the Deep Woods e-letter. Jim also co-directs the Fast Money Alert trading service alongside Dr. Mark Skousen. He's got a lot of information to share with us today. So, to our live viewers, please share any questions you may have throughout this session in the live chat box. It's on the right-hand side next to your video player there. Time permitting, we'll see if we can get to any of those audience questions at the end. And with that all said, Jim, I will hand the mic over to you. I'll be here if you need me, but the floor is all yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Charlotte. Pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate Money Show offering us this opportunity to connect with readers, my readers, and hopefully future readers as well. So this is this summit is all about commodities, and I consider cryptocurrencies as one of the kind of new commodity, as it were, that investors need to embrace, and they need to embrace it right now. So about a year ago, I started this service called the Crypto and Commodities Trader because it is my belief that crypto and commodities are what I call America's freedom multiplier. So what do I mean by that? What is a freedom multiplier? Well, I was in the military, and what we used to call a force multiplier, is either a particular job or a particular unit that increases the effectiveness of a fighting force. So, for example, like in an infantry unit, a sniper would be considered a force multiplier. If in a kind of a force-wide situation, a special forces A team would be considered a force multiplier because it increases and enhances the ability of a force to complete its objective. And our objective is, as far as our what we're all here to do, is to make more money and to enhance alpha. So today I'm going to talk about how we trade two of these best performing asset classes for that force multiplier effect, for that enhanced alpha. Now, as Charlotte just said, my name is Jim Woods. I am the editor of the one service that we're going to talk about today called Crypto and Commodities Trader. But I also have our flagship kind of long-term investing newsletter called Investing Edge. I also have a stock and options trading service called the Bullseye Stock Trader, as well as one called the Tactical Trader. We both use stocks and options on those. And then I do a service with Mark Skousen, I'm sure many of you might know. And it's called the Fast Money Alert, where we also use stock and options trades. And then I have a free e-letter, which I encourage everyone to just jump on right now. It's called the Deep Woods. And all of this can be found at jimwoodsinvesting.com. Now, the thing that's fun about the Deep Woods is it's an e-letter and it's free and it's every Wednesday. And just this morning, I'm fired up because I wrote all about the current free speech issues that are going on. So I don't just write about the markets there. I write about political situations. I write about art. I write about sports. Anything that I think would enhance our better learning of the world, and with the particular kind of bias toward how to increase your alpha on that as well. So, all right. So let's start off with the meat of the substance here. Crypto and commodities, I call them two high-flying market sectors. So here we have a chart of Bitcoin. Okay, I call it one big beautiful Bitcoin bull. So it's not bill, but bull, because this bull market in cryptocurrencies has been amazing, especially over the life of Bitcoin. I remember many years ago when Bitcoin was considered a joke, and now it's about 1% of what most sovereign wealth funds want to own, most big hedge funds want to own, because they know it's a real asset class now. It's taken a long time to get there, but if you have not yet embraced the idea of cryptocurrencies as being one of the asset classes that you need, in addition to gold, in addition to stocks, in addition to fixed income, then you're definitely missing out. Because, as you can see by this next chart, okay, the one big beautiful Bitcoin bull has delivered 48,000%, okay, through the life. This is like since it began getting tracked. It started in 2009. But as you can see here, look at this, look at these incredible returns, okay? Now, most people wouldn't have bought back in 2016 and held all the way to 2025. I wish I had done that, but I didn't have the prescience to do that. And if I did do that, I would have gone through a lot of uncomfortable years between late 21 and early 25, when basically Bitcoin was on a downtrend. So there you have it, though. You can see the trend is higher, and especially since 2024. Look at that. We're talking about a big move higher from being up like 20,000% to being up now 48,000%. Okay. Bitcoin returns by the year. Okay. Now take a look at this table, because this table is very revealing. 2009, there was no full year for Bitcoin. 2010 was basically the first year that it was on the radar of any chartist. It was up 30,000% the first year. And that is something that is unheard of in markets. No asset class moves up that fast, except for Bitcoin. So you can see, but I mean, people thought it was a fluke and maybe it wasn't going to last. 2011, it was up another 1,467%. 2012, it was only up 187%. But then 2013, up 5,870%. So interestingly, the next year was down 60%. And by market standards, that's horrible. If the S&P 500 was down 60%, the world would be in complete chaos. But because this is an asset class that is not widely owned compared to stocks or bonds or even gold, you're going to get fluctuations like this. But then you can see the next 3 years up big, culminating in 2017, up 1,338%. Now, the following year down, another big down year, 73%. Well, that's horrible, right? But keep in mind where it started. Okay? Then again, 2019 up 94, 2020 up 302%, 2021 up 60%. Okay? That, by any standard, if the market was up by 60%, you would be like rejoicing in the streets. because of your good fortune. Well, following year it was down 64%. And in 2023 was up 156%, which is amazing. Last year in 2024 it was up 121%. Now this year, Bitcoin is up year to date, since the beginning of the year, it's up about 21%. Okay, but it's made some big moves up through these landmarks, and most of that big move actually came at the end of 24, which is why the 25 returns are not as spectacular as they were in the last few years. But still, overall, you're talking about a major asset class move that keeps on attracting money and keeps on attracting not just a retail investor or a bit, Robin Hood type accounts. But we're talking about real sovereign wealth, real money that is coming from in the institutions. And the institutions have all delivered big products that we've used in the crypto and commodities trader to make money in this sector, not just in Bitcoin, but in Ethereum and other sectors. And also with the benefit of stock options, which we'll be talking about in a moment. Okay, so what's driving this Bitcoin bull? All right. Well, we have a pro-crypto president, President Trump, the 47th president, is a crypto. He used to not be a crypto evangelist. He was a crypto skeptic, which I kind of understand. Someone as being a president, having some skepticism toward this new asset class, but he quickly changed his mind, especially when a lot of Bitcoin people, especially in the Bitcoin community, were promulgating his candidacy. And I think that went a long way toward him changing his mind. And I think that was a good change of mind. It's a change that is benefited this sector immensely and created a lot of wealth. So there was a change in SEC leadership. I mean, the Biden administration had a SEC chairman that was very anti-crypto and put a lot of restrictions on the sector. The new SEC chair is very crypto friendly, and he's a pro-crypto person, which is great. They ended what's called Operation Checkpoint 2.0, which is banking regulations on crypto. There's been pro-crypto legislation. There's been a better regulatory environment. I call it the new golden age of crypto. It's a little bit of a cliche, which I don't like to use, but the fact is that this is kind of a new golden age of crypto. And it's an age that you guys all need to embrace, I think. I think even if you're a skeptic of the long-term benefits of cryptocurrency, you should be taking trading advantage of it now. Just like you could be an AI skeptic as far as the long-term value, but if you haven't owned NVIDIA or Palantir or now Oracle or some of these other stocks that have been killing it on the AI front, then you're only hurting yourself. You're missing out on profits that could be made. So alternative assets like gold and like Bitcoin, there's high debt, high government debts all around the world, a lot of deficits, and into that we're doing rate cuts, which is debases the dollar, brings up the value of hard assets and cryptocurrencies. There's also it's not just that Bitcoin can be a store of value like gold, but it's also there's rising use cases for all cryptocurrencies. So there's decentralized finance, DeFi, so-called DeFi, stable coins, etc. So all this there's all these things moving in that direction, and every month there's more and more products, more and more money going in the sector. You can't get away from it, and if you're foolish, I believe, to try to get away from it. Bitcoin by 100,000 by 2025. I predicted that in late November of 24, right after the election. It didn't take very long before that proved prescient. Bitcoin, I said Bitcoin 200,000 by 2026. I think I'm going to fall short of that prediction. I think that prediction will be, be more like 125, 130 maybe at this point, 140 if we're really lucky. But the point is, it'll be higher than it would be in 2024. And I think we're seeing that as well. Bitcoin 300,000 by 2027. That might be a bit optimistic, but I would not count it out. because for the aforementioned reasons I just said. All right, institutional volumes. I'll run through this one quickly. Volumes on the CME, which is the commodities exchange. Bitcoin futures actually fell a little bit in August, but the volume is on the rise. ETH, which is the Ethereum, those volumes rose almost 50%, 47.6%. Solana, 41%. XRP up more than 50%. We're talking about people trading these asset classes. And you can see the chart here. If you look to the far right, the last three bars, June, July, August, they're all like trending higher, especially with the last two being July and August being record high trading volume. So money is flowing into this sector. Okay, what's the other high flying market sector? Commodities. What is the most well-known and shiniest, if you will? Commodity is gold. Okay, it's a golden opportunity. Why do we have people? Why is gold at record highs all year? Okay, it's because we have tariff-inspired uncertainty. I am a big opponent of tariffs. I do not like tariffs whatsoever. I understand maybe the goal behind what they're trying to do administration-wise on this, but I think it's ill-conceived and ill-fated. It definitely was rolled out back in April, and the market told us that. But tariff-inspired uncertainty is going to remain. Okay? We're just adjusting to it, but it's still out there. There's a lot of geopolitical uncertainty as well. Ukraine war, Gaza and Israel conflict, all these things are going to continue, especially Israel and Gaza. That will never be solved, I believe. But there's a lot of geopolitical certainty. Otherwise, there's China issues. There's issues that are going to affect global hegemony, and that's going to cause people to go to hard asset like gold. There's still persistent inflation. There's a lot of there's a one big beautiful bill. There's also a lot of deficit and debt spending. Fed rate cuts. That's debasing the dollar. That's another reason why assets like Bitcoin and gold are going higher. And the fact is, central banks have been adding gold over the past few years. Now, my colleague Mark Skousen was saying that he thinks gold could be 5,000. He didn't really say an exact time on that, but I definitely think that's true. And it might take a couple of years, but gold will go to 5,000 before it goes down to 2,000. I'm confident in saying that. Okay, one big beautiful golden bull. You guys can see a pattern here. Gold up 121.6% over the past few years. All right, and that's just gold itself. That's the bullion. Okay. Why? Because of the aforementioned reasons, and because central banks are buying gold. So there's a little graphic here that shows between 1992 and 2022, central banks switched from being net sellers of gold to stockpiling it. So in 2022, there was 1,336 tons of gold being bought by central banks around the world. That was a record high, and it's only getting higher from now. These are the most recent figures I have, but the trend is definitely up. Okay. Golden age for gold miners. Okay, look at this chart here. Now, this one is of the VanEck Junior Gold Miners ETF and the VanEck Gold Miners ETF. So both of these ETFs over the past few years have been up big, 242% and 227%. And you can see most of the move came beginning around the beginning of 25. And it's been straight up from there. And much of that is for the aforementioned reasons that I just cited. Okay? All right. You can be my silver spring. If bonus points to anyone in the chat that can know what that is, that's a song lyric from Fleetwood Mac. So if you're an old classic rock person, you get that one. But silver, another shiny commodity worth owning here. Global X Silver Miners and the iShares Silver Trust. So that's the mining stocks and the actual silver itself. Look at the performance here of the last 3 years. Silver is up 121%, while the silver mining stocks are up 201%. That's over the last 3 years, and with particular moves higher, as you can see from January, from the beginning of this year. That is the kind of trend that you want to trade and you want to own and you want to take advantage of, and that's what we've been doing in the crypto and commodities trader. Okay, how do we do this? Okay, how do we accomplish our goal of increasing alpha with these two asset classes? Well, we identify the trends. I showed you some of the trends already. We analyze the technicals. Okay, I was taught by William O'Neill from Investors Business Daily how to read charts, and I'm very thankful for that training. I did more of that when I was at Morgan Stanley. Analyzing the technicals will tell you what a good time is to buy something and what a good time is to sell something. Okay? We also analyze what I call the news queue, some of those aforementioned policy changes and personnel changes. Those are all what I call news queue. These are the things that will move a particular sector, whether it's gold, silver, stocks, bonds, anything. You want to look at the news queue because people trade on news, people trade on future expectations. Okay, and then we want to own easy to own exchange traded funds in this space. We also want to apply that force multiplier of options, which we can either buy calls or puts. We take profits very quickly. Okay, we don't let something linger out there. We see an opportunity, we make the money, and we get out. That minimizes your downside. We also minimize our downside with stop losses. So if we are wrong about a circumstance, we don't lose a lot of money in any one position. And then we're active. Okay, we're doing 1 or 2 trades a week, if not sometimes a few more, sometimes a few less, depending on the situation. But we're always active. There's always opportunities out there. You move into one, you sell another one, you move into another. So you have to be active in this market, especially with cryptocurrencies, because it's a very fast moving market. And you want to make sure that if you have a gain in there, that you seek to keep that gain. All right, so here's some of the gains. We're going to go through these quickly, just in the interest of time. We launched this service a year ago, and this was one of my first trades here, and it was a 156% win in 6 days in the DBC January calls. DBC is the commodity tracking basket. If you look here on the chart, on the bottom, you'll see that that right around that time, right before the early October, late September, early October, there was a 6-day period where we saw a big spike higher, and actually continued to spike higher. But I surmise that 156% win in 6 days would make subscribers happy, and that's what we did. Here's another one, Hive Digital Technologies. Now, this is a company that mines Bitcoin. It's a company where I personally know the CEO and many of their employees. And I knew that it has a very kind of special way of keeping costs down while mining Bitcoin. So we bought it last year around this time, and we sold it 56 days later for 155% gain in the calls and a little over 13% in the common shares. Coin of the realm. This is Coinbase. Okay, what's the biggest online kind of area or brokerage firm that people buy cryptocurrencies on? It's Coinbase. They have a great business model and they're in a great position. So why not buy Coinbase? You can assess their earnings, you can assess their charts, you can assess their revenues, and you can, if you get it right, you can make a 33% win in the common shares and 188% win in the calls in just 64 days. Here's another one. The aforementioned gold mining stocks. This is GDX. This is the biggest gold stocks out there. We bought these back at the beginning of this year on January 16th, and 28 days later we sold, and we managed a 24.63% win in the common and the ETF, that is, and in the GDX June calls, 108% gain. These are the kind of gains that we're looking to get. We want a 25-30% win in either an underlying stock or an ETF, and then we want the big triple-digit type of gains. That's what we're seeking here, because those kind of stacked up triple-digit wins, as you'll see in a moment, really add up as the year goes by. Silver mining stocks. Here was another one. We bought these in April and we sold in June. 42 days, 147% in the calls and almost 20% in the ETF itself. Okay. All this stuff has been ascertained by the technical analysis and the news queue and the aforementioned things that I told you were trends were on in our favor here. Okay, here's one that we banked in Bitcoin in just 20 days. Now sometimes we have short term trades that I really like because Bitcoin has a tendency to move up fast and high and then pull back a little bit. And if you're watching the charts, you can see that happening quite frequently. Just look at this chart right here from earlier in the year. There was like marked kind of movements downward, but then big spikes higher in a very short period of time. This is the IBIT, which is the Bitcoin ETF trust. So this is a way to buy Bitcoin without having to have a wallet and buy Bitcoin itself. We actually still own IBIT in the service, but we sold the calls already for 60%, for 58% gain, excuse me. And that was a big move higher, and it's something that I thought was worth capturing there based on the charts. Okay, here's Ethereum. Ethereum was from a 63-day trade from 515 to 717. The October call, we made 108%, almost 109%. And then in the ETH fund, it was over 31% gain in just 63 days. Here's another one, blockchain, the blockchain ETF. Remember, this is if it has to do with commodities or cryptocurrencies, we look at the area because there's a lot of companies and funds that are doing very well in this sector. Amplified Transformational Data Sharing ETF is one that contains all these companies. And here we banked a profit of 123.27%, more than doubling the money in just 56 days. And we still own the BLOK ETF. Okay, so we're still profiting from it. All right, here's some of our greatest hits. I just mentioned many of these, but as you can see, most of these are triple digit gains with the exception of the IBIT, which was 66.94% in 70 days. That was one that we captured in in just the ETF itself. But you can see the GDX, ETH, CME, all of these different trades that we made. These were all call options. They were all, when we bought them, they were all out of the money call options. Many of them went into the money after we bought them, which is really the way to enhance your alpha. If you get the timing right, you can get triple digit gains of this sort. 147% gain in silver calls, 155% gain in a company that mines Bitcoin, Hive. DBC, that 156% gain in just 6 days. And then Coinbase, 188%. That's our biggest win in just 4 weeks. Okay, that's the kind of stock and options trades that really add up. So the average days held so far over the past almost a year now that we've had this service is 45. And I'm proud to say that we're on pace for an annual return now of 155.69%. Now that is going to really work. If you're looking for a trading service that is in the right sector at the right time, then this is a trading service. Here's how I do it. Remember, I identify the trend, we analyze the technicals, we analyze the news queue, okay, which is the news. We buy the easy to own exchange traded funds or stocks. We employ that full small multiplier options, mainly call options. Sometimes we'll use puts if certain area is going lower. We'll take profits quickly and we'll minimize our downside with stops. So if you subscribe to the Crypto and Commodities Trader, you get a weekly hotline on every Thursday. Okay? I give you special buy and sell alerts. So whenever there's a sell alert, you're going to get an email or a text message and a text message telling you what to do exactly. There's no guesswork on your part. I say, buy this, buy this call, buy this with this stop loss. So there's no ambiguity. Other thing we do is we do quarterly teleconferences. So I'm updating people on the markets every quarter. It's like a conference call that you can actually call in and ask questions. And then you have all the bonuses with special reports and Q&A and customer support that we offer at Eagle Financial Publications. So that's help with information, with questions, and I get many of the questions directly sent to me and I answer them directly. It's important to be able to, if you have a question, I I need to be able to answer it, so I do. Okay, final slide here. We have a special offer, crypto and commodities trader. If you want to onboard right now, I know that there's a link that I think is in the that's going to be in the chat. $99 for the first 3 months. Okay. Now normally this is a $2,000 a year product, almost $2,000 a year product. But money show people, we know you're good traders. We know that you're here because you want to be here and that you're looking for opportunities. And I think I've showed you that we've been able to deliver some pretty big opportunities. Those are actually actual trades and actual results for our subscribers. So $99 for the first 3 months. Give me that time period. If you like what you have, like what you're getting, like you're making money, you can continue this with the service. If you don't, we'll cancel you, and no harm, no foul. But I think if we keep delivering like this, you will not want to cancel. So there you have it. I think we have maybe a minute or two for questions. Charlotte, if there's any, I'll be happy to entertain anything.
Fantastic. I do have a couple of questions here in the chat for you, Jim. This first one's from Eddie. He says he's a subscriber to your Fast Money Alert and Investing Edge, and he wants to know if you think we're in a crypto winter now.
No, I do not think we're in a crypto winter. Thanks, Eddie. I do know Eddie actually. I know he's a frequent questioner of ours. I love it. Thank you, man. By the way, I don't think we're in a crypto winter at all. I think it's just the opposite. I mean, if you look at the performance of Bitcoin, I mean, it's up 20% year to date. That's hardly a winter. Um, and if you look at the activity and the money flows in the space, it's the opposite of winter. Actually, I think we're in the springtime of crypto. So flip the seasons around, my friend. And I think we're in a spring rather than winter. We were in a crypto winter in 2022, and then I agree. We needed our parkas for that crypto winter, but not anymore. We might be in fall in like regular calendar terms, but I think we're in the spring when it comes to metaphoric spring when it comes to crypto. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jim. And before we close up, one more question from Will. He was just wondering if you had any comments on big weakness today in FCX.
That FCX, I haven't really looked at it directly today, but FCX has had some issues. They've had some copper mine shutdowns, things like that. I like FCX as a stock and as a company. It's one of the best run mining stocks around, but they're certainly they're facing some challenges right now, even though the price of copper is holding up kind of nicely. But I would steer clear of FCX right now, especially for a trade. If you own it long term, then I think you'll be okay if just kind of not panic and continue. But I will definitely look. If you want to email us, I'll look into that more. We have owned FCX in the past in different services, although not in this service. But I mean, the company itself is brilliantly run, but they're struggling right now, and from exogenous reasons, and that's always uncomfortable, especially if you own the shares. So, but if you do, I think you should just basically stay calm. Don't panic. Don't off board there. But it may come a time when you need to. So if that's the case, then don't hesitate either. You don't get married to a stock is one of the old adages of Wall Street. So and I prescribe to that.
Well, thank you so much, Jim. It's been a pleasure
Welcome.
having you on. Great presentation. Glad we could get a couple questions in there too. And yeah, fantastic. Looking forward to next session as well.
All right. Thanks to everyone. Cheers.
And another thank you to those of you watching us live from us at Money Show. Be sure to stay tuned as we do have more in store for you in this Money Show Virtual Expo. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.